I've always wanted to travel. Like that was a big thing for me. I felt like being in Europe directly, it just opened up so many doors to the world that you don't get, in the Western world because everything's just so much further out.
This is Uncensored Grill with Tipo. No filters, no safety nets, just intelligence under pressure.
When you grow up as an immigrant in a loving family, you have this little bubble around you, which is like they always want to make sure you're safe. They always want to make sure you're taken care of. So like stepping outside of that bubble is like a big hit to the comfort. I would much rather have freedom to do what I want, when I want, where I want, than being stuck in a single place. There's something about the hustle culture in the US. It's unmatched in many countries. If you're able to experience that and you get to stick with that, I think you're gonna be successful anyway. I think this is a hot take because we all need them, but nobody really wants to use them, and I think it's creators. It's not people like yourself, but I think it's people who charge unrealistic prices for the results that they bring.
Infofy is a measure of influence, but they are measured the wrong influence. The influence shouldn't be about the number of impressions, it should be about the number of conversions.
I think a lot of the campaigns you see today are just copy-paste of one another.
Imagine yourself for a day. You happen to be the president of Venezuela. What would you do different? Some people grow up in one country and some grow up in 3 different lives. Born in Venezuela, raised in the United States, rebuilt again in Spain. Most people search for identity. He had to create from scratch 3 times. And here is the part that caught my attention. Every time life moved him, he didn't become smaller, he became sharper. And this episode is not about marketing, it's about identity, migration, and the cost of becoming someone in a world where nothing stays still. Juan, welcome to the Uncensored Group. How are you?
How are you doing? I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm good as well. I'm good. How have you been?
I've been good, staying busy, grinding through the market. You know how it is.
Do you know why this episode is special to me?
Why?
A couple of years ago, I had a call with you, our first time. And the meeting was scheduled to be 30 minutes. And eventually we used an hour plus on that call.
Yeah.
I can remember vividly, and every detail was etched into my memory. But you said something pertinent, something peculiar. You were like, Deepo, you ask so many beautiful questions. Why don't you take this thing up professionally? Like you become a podcast host. And ever since then, the dream hasn't left my heart for a single moment. So Juan, I want to thank you for inspiring something in me, for starting a fire. Thank you so much. So what do you have
Of
to say?
course, man. Look, I think you've come a long way, Deepo. I mean, I'm glad I was a small piece of your journey, and I kind of supported that from the beginning. I think you've always been a person that asks the right questions and know how to get in the right room. So like, I think podcasting for you just made sense, man. Honestly,
Yeah, thank you. And I feel so good. I feel at home.
there we
And you,
go.
you nailed it. Yeah, you nailed it. So there's something that I love to call the icebreaker of the day. It's a beautiful question for someone amazing, and I'm gonna read to you right now from my iPad. This is a beautiful question. So forget passports, forget borders. If you had to write down the one place that truly built you, not raised you, truly built you, not educated you, built you, what would you write on that paper? Forget your
That tr-
passport, forget the borders.
that truly built me.
Yeah,
I think I'd probably say Spain.
Spain.
Yeah.
You've lived in three different countries: the US, Venezuela, and then Spain. But now I ask you a question that what truly built you? And then you said Spain. And then Spain came last. So why Spain? Why not the US? Why not Venezuela? Why Spain?
I think Spain for me was a special move. The reason why I say it built me is because it was the first place I went to basically by myself. It was like the first move out, so it was like the big step for me, right? So like when I was in Venezuela, I was in the U.S. It was like with family, with the parents, like around that circle. Moving to Spain, it was like completely out of my comfort zone, and it was just like let's build something bigger. I think that's why I would probably, to look back, Spain for me was the right move, and I think I would not change it to this day.
Okay. Okay. Or are you saying Spain because of the language culture? I think in Venezuela they speak Spanish as well, right?
Yeah.
And then in Spain. So maybe because of the language, maybe you feel at home, maybe you feel as if you're back in Venezuela as well. Do you think that
The,
contributes to your decision as well?
I think that also helps support the decision. A big part of it was I've always wanted to travel. Like that was a big thing for me, and I felt like being in Europe directly, it just opened up so many doors to the world that you don't get, in the Western world because everything's just so much further out.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think the culture, the people, the access to traveling easier, like all of that made up the decision to kind of like just move over here.
And you said something that really caught my attention when you said, you've always wanted to travel, but when you are in the US, you feel as if you are still within the family.
Yeah.
The relationship between the US and Venezuela. So it's as if you are still at home. But then you coming on to Spain, you felt like a man. You felt as if you are doing things in your own way. Did I get that right?
I think you got a spot on, man. I mean, I think it was getting out of the bubble, right? Because at the end
Okay.
of the day, when you grow up as an immigrant and in a loving family, you have this little bubble around you, which is like they always want to make sure you're safe. They always want to make sure you're taken care of. So like stepping outside of that bubble is like a big hit to the comfort. Um, and I felt it when I came to Spain.
Okay. So that really brought me to my next beautiful question, which is one, when was the first time you felt uh, or you realized you didn't fully belong anywhere? When was that moment?
In terms of living,
In terms of everything, living, finance, whatever you want to call it.
oh
What was
man,
that eureka moment that you knew fully well that where did I really belong?
that's a good question. I guess but maybe like the first thing that comes to my mind is I remember being in I think it was maybe 11th grade. And I remember sitting in a classroom. I remember two things. I remember sitting in a classroom, reading a book, and I think it was Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I love
Um,
that book. Robert
and
Kiyosaki.
yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful book. And I was sitting in 11th grade in a classroom reading that book, and one of the teachers came up to me and she asked me, she was like, "Wow, why are you reading that book? Like, go read another book." That was a moment that really stuck with me. Another moment is I remember, I believe it was that same year, I was sitting in the back of the classroom, staring at charts trading live on my phone while in the classroom. And I think that was probably like another moment. And just having like just the feeling of freedom that I kind of felt like making, whatever amount of money I made during that class. I was like, okay, like this is something that I want to pursue further. And it kind of tied in like entrepreneur, travel, make money online, kind of like tied that whole circle. And it was like, I feel like that's the first moment that comes to mind right now.
Do
Um,
you do you do you feel like an outcast?
like an outcast.
Yeah. I
In
mean, high school, you are in high school learning entrepreneurship, learning how to make money online, imagining yourself traveling the world. Most kids in high school wouldn't even dream of that. let alone thinking of doing it. And then here you are doing it back then. So do you feel like an outcast?
I would say back then I definitely did. I think something that supported that a lot is surrounding yourself around the right people. So like I've spent a lot. I mean, like since I moved, like I've spent most of the year just trying to curate a network of people around me who are like-minded and who enjoy things that I enjoy. And I feel like I've gotten to that point like slightly now. So right now, I would say not so much. Back then, definitely, definitely.
So you are saying that your circle changed rather. You are now with people that are having the same dream as you, or maybe even they are much pursuing something much bigger than you as well. Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying? Okay,
yeah.
okay,
I think
beautiful,
that just changes
beautiful.
perspectives.
Yeah, perspective. It's like a paradigm shift.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you, Juan. We would love to move on to the next question, which is something that really amused me. I mean, the Venezuela, the US, Spain, which country shaped your identity, and then which one fractured it?
Mm. I would probably say the one that shaped my identity was probably the U.S. And
In
I
what way?
think I think living in the U.S. you get access to like two things that are very powerful that you get basically nowhere, which is the access to learn English, which opens up so many doors.
Hmm.
And the second thing is the mindset, right? So like when you're in the US, everything moves fairly fast. Things are like go go go. And I think when you get into that mindset, in some ways it could be good, it could be bad. I think for me it was in a good way. Where like moving to Spain, where it's a country that's a lot slower, and still having the mindset of the US, it just allows you to move faster than other people. I think those would be like the two ways that the US kind of like shape my identity in a positive way. In a negative way, I'd probably say Venezuela. The reason being is when I was a kid, I remember the safety obviously not being so great over there. And I realized this after going back, not to Venezuela, but to Colombia, nearly 10 years later, and still feeling that sense of like not free and always
Not
having to
safe.
look behind your back. Yeah. And I had never experienced that after 10 years of leaving Venezuela, you know? So like after I went back to Colombia, I kind of like brought back those feelings. And I think in a negative way, probably Venezuela was like the one that shaped me in a negative way.
So sorry to hear that. But then there is this famous, saying, the American dream. What was yours?
Yeah. Um, I think the American dream is always like how people define it is go buy a house, pay off the house, have a family, live in a good neighborhood, and have a decently well-paying job. My version of the American dream is slightly different, which is I would much rather have freedom to do what I want, when I want, where I want, than being stuck in a single place, right? I think that was
Do you
always my definition of the dream.
do you still hold the same dream right at this moment?
Yeah, I don't know where I'm gonna be in the next 6 months, but I don't know if it'll be Spain. I
You
don't
are
know. I
truly
always feel
living
the
the
need
American
to.
dream. You
Yeah.
are truly living the dream. And about the fractured part, you said something, on the negative side, the safety, not, you having to look at your shoulder. Am I safe? Is anything coming? So, which brought me to this, I wouldn't say beautiful question, sad question. We've all read, seen, heard about the gun violence in America. Have you ever been affected in any way? Friends, family, relatives, acquaintances? Have you ever lost anyone so dear to you to that negative perspective or sentiment in the US?
Not personally. Not personally. The closest encounter I've probably had to that was I mean I remember being in school and school having a lockdown because a school in another nearby city was, had
Under
a
siege.
bomb, or yeah, in another city closer by had a had a shooting on the property, right? So that's probably the closest encounter I've had to it. Thankfully, nothing has happened to me or any other family. Um,
How old were you then? At that moment, how old were you?
I was probably 17.
What was going through your head that moment? The teacher coming into the class and then make an announcement that, guys, there is a shooting in a nearby school. We have to lock this school down. I want all of you under your desk or under your table, lie down flat, no phones, nothing. What was going through your mind?
I think at that point, like, we're all kids, so we all see it as a joke, right? We all see it as if it's something like, oh, nothing's gonna happen to us. We always feel like we have a big bubble around us. Um, I would say I felt scared, but it probably wasn't like the feeling you should feel, because just everybody's joking around, So it's like when you're kids, oh, it's happening somewhere else, no need to worry about it. But um, that's probably how it was. Honestly, I don't remember vividly, but the experiences that I've had close to that is it's always been like, oh, it's not gonna happen here, and things like that.
Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that, but yes, we have to move on because I know these are things that are etched into your memories, and I wouldn't want to, make you recollect something so negative. But then we have to share this part of you with people as well. People needs to know, people needs to understand that people in Web3 are just people like themselves, going through
Yeah.
daily struggles, family troubles, whatever. So thank you, Juan. Thank you. We really appreciate it. So if I could take you back to age 10, the moment you moved to the US, what did you lose that you still haven't recovered?
What did I lose that I still haven't recovered?
Yes.
Um, I'm not sure. I would probably say just like I don't know, like just playing around as a kid, running around with my cousins and things like that. Like, I remember that vividly. Um, Outside of that, I'd probably one thing that's always stuck with me is like the culture of Venezuela, like the food itself.
Yeah.
That's probably one thing. Outside of that, I'm not sure I would say much. I've always tried to like see things in a good light and just kind of like move forward, right? Like, that's the way I
Yeah.
always think about it.
I love that. And everybody means the culture part. Let me be honest with you. And this is something that I know that when people are watching this episode later, they're gonna laugh at me. But I probably wouldn't want to travel out because I'm gonna miss the food, especially the local
There we
dish
go.
in my tribe. And if you go to other states in Nigeria, and this is even within Nigeria, right? If you go to other states, I found out that most of the local dish that I try to taste out outside of my city is rubbish. They don't make them the way they are supposed to be done. So yes,
Yeah.
I understand the culture part, and I understand you missing your cousins, your nephews, your niece, whatever, because you can't just take everyone away with you. You can't take everyone along with you. So yeah, I really understand that part perfectly. And one, you are a student of life. You are a student of migration. You are a student of, I could call you a nomad if you wouldn't mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why do you think migration sharpens some people and break others? What was that distinct gap?
I think the people that get shattered by moving to new cities are the people that get stuck in thinking what ifs, right? Um some people get stuck on like, oh, what if I would have stayed? Or what if I wouldn't have moved? Or the family is always a big aspect to it, but I feel like they get too stuck in that. And I think the way that at least the way that I've seen it is always the way that I was brought up is you go somewhere new, you make the best out of it, and you become the best person that you can in wherever you are, whatever it is that you're doing. And I think that's always something that stuck with me. Like my family's always been big on that. It's like if you're gonna do something, be the best at it, and just make the biggest version of yourself that you can. So if I didn't have that support or that support system, I probably would be in like a different mindset, right? Like for me, it was always how can I become bigger? How can I don't know, how can I just continue to learn and grow? And I think if you don't think of it that way, then you're gonna get stuck behind, which then it's not gonna allow you to move forward. Which then is basically where you get upset and you get depressed and you want to go back, and basically all the issues arise. That would probably be
Yeah.
my best take on that.
And I think everyone that's going to be watching this later, if you are a student of life, like one year, you move from probably Colombia to US, Colombia to Europe, whatever, I think you have a cue on how to live and how to excel. You don't do what ifs, but second thought. No, you want to go, you go all in, just like my man Juan here.
Yeah,
So, one quick one, yeah. I asked Leon
yeah,
a question about, Leon is from Lebanon, and we all know what's happening in Lebanon. War breaks out, this happened, that happened. If you watch that episode, Leon made us realize that his dad lost everything in the bank, like everything. The man doesn't even own a single watch. Every money he made goes to the bank, and all of a
hmm
sudden, the money becomes worthless. So I'm gonna ask you, when you look at Venezuela today, what emotion eats first? What are you thinking? Anger, grief, greed, or distance? Based on what's happening with the economy, how people are moving all around the countries. I mean, all around the nations. People are
yeah.
scattering all over the world. What do you feel?
I think I feel a sense of sadness. The reason being is I think Venezuela has so much potential in terms of an economy. They have one of the largest oil reserves in the world. They have one of the largest gas reserves in the world, gold reserves. They have so many resources to make the country
Great.
one a beautiful place, a safe place, and a very rich place. I think it's just been misused and it's been taken advantage of by certain people that shouldn't have been where they're sitting today. So for me, it's a sense of distance and sadness because I think there's a lot of potential. I wish like one of my wishes is one day to go back and kind of explore what I didn't explore because I think that there's always like a sense of like I want to go back and see what I missed out on, right? Um, so for me, it's distance and sadness, honestly.
I'm so sorry to hear that. And honestly, we have few things in common as well. Nigeria, we have one of the biggest oil reserve. We have one of the biggest natural resources you can think of: lithium, iron, whatever, zinc, whatever.
Yeah.
It's in Nigeria. And look at our economy. Look at the way we are living. But that's not why we are here. So I want to ask you a quick one. One. You said you imagine yourself going back. Imagine yourself for a day. You happen to be the president of Venezuela. What would you do different?
That's a
What
deep question.
what what one thing or one law would you change that will completely drive out corruption or reduce it to the minimum to the minimum?
What would I change? I think
Yeah.
I would probably take inspiration from what Honduras did, which is basically they ran like a massive operation where they incarcerated basically every gang member or every drug lord or anything like that. I mean, that would probably be like the first and only step I would take. Because if you don't take care of the core, the root problem, you can't solve anything else. All right. So it's like, what's the core constraint? To me, it's that. And it's like, can we take care of that and move forward to the next? I would probably like, first thing I would do is take care of that.
That's beautiful. You take care of the root of the problems, and then all of a sudden, all other problems, the smaller ones, disappears. That was brilliant, one. That was
Yeah,
brilliant. Thank you so much. So,
of course.
immigrants carry invisible pressure. We all know that. You are
Yeah.
going to a new country. You are going to meet new people. The don't fail rule. What's one pressure you never talk about publicly? The one that you carry, the personal pressure as an immigrant.
Uh, um, I think so. Most of my family in Venezuela, they were doctors, right? So it was always a sense of like, for them, the right path was always go to school, get well educated, go get a safe job that pays well. I never took that route, so that's probably been the biggest pressure that I've always felt. And the second biggest pressure would probably be after I moved to Spain. The one thing I wouldn't want to do is go back to my mom and be like, "Hey, mom, I didn't make it. I need to come back and move in." Right? It's not that she would say no, but it would just be sort of like an ego hit, you know? Like it's not something that you would want to do after you step out. And pressure wise would probably be the two. Like those are the two core things. Is I didn't take the traditional path that most of them took, and being seen as a failure of I left to a new country and came back because I didn't make it out would probably be like it would probably destroy me.
Yeah, that's why I said the don't fail part. You don't
Yeah.
want to fail because especially if you happen to be the black sheep of the family. And when I say black sheep, I'm not referring to you being bad, but someone that wants to take a different route, a different
Yeah.
approach to how the family standard has been set for years. And I happen to be the same person as well. I happen to be the same because I studied surveying and geoinformatics, and now look at me hosting podcasts for a living. So when I
Crushing it.
started out, yeah, when I started out, people were like, bro, you had one of the best certificates. Why not just go into this thing fully? Why this Web3 thing? But what I saw, they do not say it. And yeah, this is where we are right now. All glory to God, all glory to people like yourself, people like Leon, and other people that are going to be supporting our podcast in the nearest future. So we are here. I could understand your fear and I could feel the pressure as well. So, Juan, thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
appreciate it, Deepo.
Thank you. Yeah. So, do you feel more Venezuela or more America or more Spanish or a citizen of nowhere? And this is
That's a good question. I would probably I think going back to one of the questions that you asked earlier, which is like what country shaped me the most in a positive way, was America. I would say I would feel more American. Reason being,
okay.
I feel like when you grow up, the years that stick with you the most are between 10 and 16 because that's when you like actually like learn and you have lessons and you build cultures and you build your own thoughts. And I lived all of those through the US, right? So like for me, I would say if I was to be placed somewhere in the world where I feel like if I was to start from zero and I was to be placed somewhere in the world would probably be America because that's where I
Okay.
would feel most at home.
Okay. Okay. So you feel more American then. So what did America teach
What did it teach me?
you? Yes. That you are still
It's
holding on to right now.
I would say the hustle culture. The
The
hustle
hustle
culture.
culture.
There
Fuck,
there's
American are
something
hustlers.
there's something about the hustle culture in the US that it's unmatched in many countries. And I think if you're able to experience that and you get to stick with that, I think you're gonna be successful anywhere. Right? Like if you look at the
Yeah.
US, it has the most billionaires in the world, and I think that's for a
Yes.
reason. It's
Yeah.
just the culture, the experiences, the network, the people. That's probably the biggest change that
Yeah.
I've taken away.
I heard so much about New York and then what's the name again? Is it in San
San
Francisco or
Francisco,
California? Silicon Valley.
yep.
They
Silicon Valley, yep.
said those two places made the most billionaires in the world.
Yeah,
New York
it's
and then
I would
Silicon Valley.
agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've never been to the US. Maybe one day in the nearest future I'll be there, but I've heard a
One
lot
day you'll
about the
host
US.
a podcast in New York, San
I
Francisco,
want to
but
do it.
traveling
I
around,
want to
people.
do it. I want to do it. I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan and I want to meet the man, ask the man a ton of questions. Yeah. So thank you for inspiring that. I'll hold you to that. That one
Give
said
it a
on one of
couple of
our
years.
episodes. Yeah. Yeah. I'll love that. I'll love that. So, one, let's be honest. Yeah. And Some people might actually not like this, but it's something that needs to be said. Let's be honest, Web3 marketing right now is overcrowded with noise. What truth about the industry everyone avoids saying? I have my truth because I've been saying it. If you check my brand in Web3, the content that I create, I've been saying that a lot of things are being regurgitated when it comes to Web3 marketing. The campaigns, the strategies, it's something we've seen. But that's my own truth. So, what's one thing that everyone is been avoiding to say that you know it's crap when it comes to Web3 marketing?
I think this is a hot take because we all need them, but nobody really wants to use them, and I think it's creators, and it's not people like yourself, but I think it's people who charge unrealistic prices for the results that they bring. I remember there was a guy, he quoted one of our clients, I believe it was $30,000 for a 90-second implementation in a video, and the client was willing to pay for it, right? And that's out of my control. I can't make them decide where to take their money. But I personally think that things like that are just, they're a waste of resources, they're a waste of money, they're a waste of time. I think marketing can be done a lot better if it's executed the right way. I think a lot of the campaigns you see today are just copy paste of one another. It's always the same playbook. Launch a big announcement, have all the same creators talk about that announcement for 2-3 days, and then basically the project vanishes because the next one comes in. I think,
So,
yeah, go on.
go on, go on, go on, go on.
I think that the way you build good campaigns is you actually look into the product, build something around the product that has viral potential, and then lean into that. Because otherwise, people will just forget about it, and it'll just be another trailer and another product that creators talk about here and there.
So, what's your thought around InfoFi?
I
I hate
think,
it. That's my thought. I hate it.
I think it was the right idea, maybe wrong execution.
Yes.
I think what happened with InfoFi is that it became too overcrowded. I think everybody saw the opportunity to make money and everybody took it, which is, it's fair play, right? Like everybody wants to make money in the space. But I think that it should have been done in a better way where like you value quality over quantity. And I think the Kaito and some of these other platforms are trying to implement the quality aspect to it. But at this scale, it's nearly impossible when you have thousands, if not millions, of tweets going out for a certain campaign. And it's like really hard to like pinpoint the quality ones, right? Because like, how do you do that across hundreds of thousands of tweets? It's nearly impossible. So I think if that would have been done from the start and the standard would have been set as quality over quantity, it would have probably had performed a little bit better. But to this day, like most projects and most VCs care about vanity metrics. So if you're trying to go for vanity metrics, I mean, InfoFi is the right approach for you.
And there is only one winner here, which is the house. And who is the house? The InfoFi platform. I heard I think Kaito take around 150K to onboard the project. And one more thing that I dislike about InfoFi is this. And I tell most of my friends that are creators that, bro, don't do this. Because you are fighting a battle that you can never win.
Yeah.
And how do I know it? Let's say Leon has 150K followers, and then Deco has 5K followers. And now you want me to compete with Leon when it comes to attention. 150K followers to 5K followers. Even if I'm botting the hell out of my account, I will still never be able to win.
Yeah.
So InfoFi is a measure of influence, but they are measure the wrong influence. The influence shouldn't be about the number of impressions. It should be about the number of conversions. If Deepak tweet with 5K account and he converted 10 people, and then if Leon tweet with 150K account and he converted 10 people, Deepak is the winner here. That's what InfoFi should be all about. But that's not why we are here. It's just an afterthought. But thank you so much for your thoughts on that one. We'd love to move on to the next question, which is how much of your marketing intelligence comes from books and how much comes from being forced to adapt, especially in a Web3 market that doesn't stay still?
I think 99% of it comes from adapting. I mean, you can take the principles, right? You can take the principles, but there's no book that will teach you how to launch a token. There's no book that will teach you go use this creator, or there's this InfoFi platform that came out, go use them. I think in Web3 it's just adapting. I mean, again, you can take the principles away. You can go read the books. Uh, I was listening to a podcast this morning, and it was basically saying you could read 20 books, but if you don't implement any of it, then what's the point? It's the same thing here, right? Like you could read 20 books on marketing, 90% of them will probably not apply to what you're doing in crypto.
And do you think, okay, quick one, do you think a Web2 marketer would have survived in a Web3 marketing economy? Do you think?
It's a different experience. It's a different goal in mind. I think in Web2 it's about bringing revenue in. I think in Web3 it's about maximizing awareness and maximizing, mind share. I think that's the game that most crypto projects are playing. The reason being is more mind share gets you more token buys, which gets you more percentage and gets you more revenue. That's the game that they're playing. Web2 is like, go get people to buy our stuff, make money, and pour that money back into marketing. It's completely different land fields.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's true. So before I dive into more marketing question for you, there is a question that I've been dying to ask you, which is, I had an argument with a friend of mine that children of migration, children of migrants, they tends to succeed in business. And the reason is that they learn a lot of things. They borrow different cultures. You are from Venezuela. You know about Venezuela so much. There are cultures that you know that I will never understand. And now you move to the US. You've learned so much about the United States culture. And now you are in Spain. You've learned so much about Spanish culture as well. Combining all of that makes you super sharp. It puts you at edge almost all the time. Now yourself compared to someone that has lived their entire life in the US. So I'm asking you, do you think the children of migrants or children of migration has a certain edge in business compared to their counterparts? And the counterpart is someone that has lived their life in Nigeria, or that has lived their life in the US, or that has lived their life in Venezuela.
I think it all depends where you, and I hate to say it, but it's the truth. I think it depends where you're based. Um, there are certain zip codes and there are certain countries and cities that give you an edge over people. But the way I do look at it is like business, life. It's all a game, and all these little things are side quests. Like if I was to go spend a year traveling to 10, 20 different countries, I would come up with like a whole different mindset, different experience, which will then allow me to probably be more creative when it comes to business. I think probably the most successful people are immigrants, and I think the reason being is like they go through the toughest times. Like if you look even at Alex Ramosi, his parents were immigrants. He was raised as an immigrant with the lessons, the failures, the teachings of immigrant families. And I think that if you take all those learnings and you place yourself at the right spot, example Singapore, Hong Kong, Dubai, New York, San Francisco. If you take all these learnings and you go to a big city, I think 90% of the time you're gonna outbeat everybody.
That's right. That's right. You borrowed from a lot of culture and then you make it one. So
Yeah.
that puts you into a really badass advantage. So yeah, that's cool. Before we move on, you are the founder of Web3Flow. You've done a lot of marketing campaigns. You've crafted a lot of strategies. What's one campaign or strategy that you've done that you enjoyed so much, and then it's brought in a lot of attention or probably revenue, for the company you work with? I want you to highlight that briefly.
I think my favorite campaigns and the best clients we've worked with are always the ones that have a real product, a clear way to revenue or user acquisition, and we just come in and put the pieces together. Like the way I see it is like if I see a founder, they have all the right puzzle pieces on the table. We just come in and place those pieces together to make the right strategy. Like those have always been the best performing and the best clients that we've worked with. Like as an example, we had a client, product was ready, smart founder, smart team, startup, so they didn't have much money, but like we came in, we spent, I mean, maybe like $7,000, which in a marketing campaign is not a lot. It's probably one of the lowest we've actually spent, and it was probably one of the best performing campaigns we've done because we just
Are you
came
at
in.
liberty? Are you at liberty of naming the project?
Um, what do you mean by that?
Like, can you tell the name of the project or their brand in Web3, what they are doing right now, where they are right now?
Yeah, it was CudaSwap. So it was CudaSwap. They have the platforms ready. They have a Info5/Dex aspect to it, and the campaign was very simple. Like we just lean into what people care about, which is social status. So basically, we came in, we saw the product. The product is social based, and we just built a campaign around giving people social status, and it just became pretty viral. Right? I think the
Yeah,
campaign maybe about 1.5 million impressions in a weekend.
I could tweeted that tweet as well. Kudos swap.
There we
That
go.
was brilliant. I never knew you were the one behind that.
Yeah,
Wow,
there we go.
that was the news to me. That was the news to me. That was the news to me. Big shout out to you. I never knew you were the one behind the campaign.
Appreciate
This
it.
is why we set up Uncensored Grill, to show the other side of the Web3 founders, entrepreneurs, creatives in the Web3, marketers, growth about manager, just name it. Because there are things that you guys are doing that no one really cared or no one really knows that it's someone like yourself, someone like Leon that are doing it, and we are here to highlight that. I will never know that you are behind the Code of Swap campaign if you never mentioned it today. So yeah, thank you so much, Juan. So
Of course.
to my next question, if Web3Flow, your company, disappears today, what part of you survives without breaking?
What part of me survives without breaking?
If there is no Web3Flow tomorrow?
I think it would probably be the willingness to learn. Um, I think I think again going back to like what I said earlier, which is like the game of life, the game of business, like it's all a game. The way you move forward to the next step is learning. Um, I've always been a fan of education. I'm not a fan of how education at schools is done, but I'm a fan of education overall. And I think the part of me that would never leave if the company wasn't around today would just be the willingness to learn new things and continue to grow. I think that's always something that everybody should do, no matter if they're running a company, they're working somewhere, they're unemployed. It doesn't matter what stage of it you're at. I think if you continue to learn, like you're always gonna. There's no downside to learning more. That's what I would say.
Yeah. And one of the principles that I'm living by right now, and that has gotten me out from one of the darkest moments in my entire life, is what Nava said. You know Nava Rafikant.
Mm-hmm.
So Nava said, if he were to lose everything today, and he got thrown out of America to like no man's land, so far there are people there, so far they understand English, and so far they are doing business. He's gonna be a millionaire in probably a couple of years because
Yeah.
he is the product. He himself,
Yeah.
Naval Rafikant, is the product. And that's when it clicked for me as well. That if you become the product, then you are the money magnet. And how do you become a product? Is by learning, continuous learning. Watch, you want to be paid for, what the world is willing to pay for, and what you are good at, which brought me back to the ikigai, the power of ikigai, the intersection of what you're good at, what the world is willing to pay for, and then I mean, this is really brilliant from you, Juan, and I think this is why Web3 Flow has been able to stay afloat even when the bear market is, even when the market sentiment is dropping. So big kudos to you. And this
Appreciate it.
is gonna bring us to the final part of the show where we play a little game. And
All right.
this one you're not gonna be able to think. We'll want the answer right off the bat. Venezuela or Spain? Which feels more like home?
Spain.
Okay, cool. What's one belief your parents had that shaped you the most?
One believe. Again, be the best at anything that you're doing. I was always
Is
told if
ambition
you're.
born?
I was always told if you're the garbage man, be the best garbage man there is out there.
Is ambition born or built?
What was that?
Is ambition born or built?
I think it's built. I think people can be born without ambition, but there are certain times at life where your back's put against the wall where you have to kind of be ambitious, and you built that from you built that fire from within, basically.
If you aren't doing marketing, what would you be obsessed with?
I would probably say either content or creating products that people can actually get their hands on and utilize.
I was expecting you to say you'd be a doctor.
Never.
Don't let your mama see this one. Don't let your mama see this one.
Funny enough, but somehow all of my family are doctors. I am like terrified of the doctor, needles, blood, anything amongst that. I'm just completely terrified of.
Finish this sentence. Migration taught me to.
I think just be resilient. Learn new things and just like anywhere you're put, just be the best that you can be.
So, Juan, thank you so much for attending the Uncensored Grill podcast. But then, before you go, you have to ask me one question. What would that be?
I have to ask you one question. What would it be?
Yeah.
What's the biggest lesson that you've taken from everything that you've done in the past? Podcasting, creator, family, everything. Like, what's the biggest lesson you've taken away?
Be open-minded.
I think that's a great lesson, man. You always have to be open-minded.
If I'm not open-minded, I'll never be here. I've done spaces for years, and I've done content for years, writing, video, just name it. And now we're here.
Everything.
Podcast. Everything. So that's it. I'm open-minded,
awesome.
and I'm always eager to learn. That's one thing about me. If you want something done, give it to me. I'll do it. If I have to learn to be able to do it, I'll do it. I wasn't born to be a podcaster. I've never, sat in front of camera before. I've never been a broadcaster. I've never been anything. And I do tell people, I do not study English. I study physics, math, engineering. That's what I did in the school. And now I'm working as a broadcaster because it's the glorified name for podcaster is actually broadcaster as well. So yes, the biggest lesson will be that I'm open-minded and I want to keep it that way till eternity. I want to be a student of life.
That's awesome. I think you have
man.
to be deeper, and I think you've done an amazing job, man. Again, you've crushed it. I'm so happy to see you here, man. Honestly.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on this show. We would love to bring you back some other time in the nearest future as well. Thank you so much, and then you enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, your morning. Thank you, Juan.
Yeah.
Really appreciate
You as well, Deepo. I appreciate it, man.
This is Uncensored Grill with Tipo. No filters, no safety nets, just intelligence under pressure.